Hi, everyone. I'm Gina Malin, Executive Director of the Parents League of New York. And we are a nonprofit organization bringing families and schools, independent schools together. And I'm joined today with Rebekah Sollitto, who is Assistant Head of Poly Prep and Strategic Initiatives. And before that role, she was the Director of Admissions and Financial Aid. So we're here to talk a little bit about financial aid. Many families, as you know, are receiving letters and awards about financial aid. And Rebekah, I'd love for you to give some advice to families who are receiving these letters and how to navigate the awards.
Of course. Thank you so much, Gina. Thank you. The Parents League always has such wonderful resources for our families here in New York. Thank you. So I think the most important piece of advice to keep in mind when you're navigating financial aid awards and trying to really understand them is, first of all, you can always ask the school questions directly. So there are a number of different components that are included in tuition at many schools, and a number of components that are not necessarily included in tuition. And some of those really important kind of big ticket items that vary from school to school are lunch, bus, so bus or transportation to school, books, and also trips. So many schools will have information about what's actually included in tuition on their website. But if you're not sure about any of these, I highly recommend just sending a quick note to the financial aid director or calling the school directly. That way you can understand a little bit more about comparing one letter from a school to another. You'll be able to tell about the actual tuition reduction that your financial aid includes, and then also really understand the full cost of attending a school. So those two pieces together hopefully will allow you to compare one award to another award. And again, always keeping in mind that with any questions about that, everyone welcomes your calls and looks forward to hearing from you.
I think that's a great piece of advice, especially encouraging families to call the school. Because I know when we speak to families, our advisors speak to families, they're often afraid to pick up the phone and call. But we do encourage you, and you heard it straight from Rebekah, pick up the phone, call the school, call the director of financial aid, if you have any questions about the award and the letter that you received. So speaking of those awards, we've been hearing from families who have perhaps received a range of awards. So they some are lucky to receive multiple awards, but even within those awards, it's been a range. So can you explain a little bit about that, about the range?
Absolutely. Yes, I know it can be so confusing from the parents' end. If you're thinking to yourself, well, my financial aid portfolio is the same, so why are these schools giving such different offers and a range of offers? So two thoughts about that. I think even in a typical year, families can see a real range of awards, and that is really exacerbated right now, like so many things during the pandemic. So in a typical year, for example, let's say you're applying to a school and their main entry is kindergarten. A school might allocate the vast majority of their financial aid resources towards kindergarten, which might mean that if you're applying at a level like 6th grade or 9th grade or 7th grade, a school might make different financial aid decisions based on where they're really trying to focus the majority of their incoming students. Likewise, there could be any number of reasons why schools might use slightly different formulas. In New York, most schools use either TADS or SSS, which are the two main, financial aid services where families fill out forms. And then within each of those, individual schools can make some different tweaks depending on what they might decide for their overall formula. They might allocate a certain cost of living percent, or they might make different changes just depending on what has best served their community historically. So you'll see some different uses of formulas at different schools. And then you'll also see just the ways that schools budget differently for financial aid. those are some of the things that can cause differences in awards. And then I would say that is all, as I said, really exacerbated during the pandemic. So for example, at Poly Prep, there are currently about 20% of our population that receives financial aid. So those families submit their financial aid forms and then are packaged for the coming year. And we're seeing that overall, families who have been hit hard by the pandemic may have a higher level of need this year, which can also just impact financial aid dollars for incoming families. So again, there's a bunch of different reasons why you might see a difference in one school versus another school. Bringing me back though to point number one, you can always ask questions of the financial aid director or of the admissions director. And I think it's important to be really honest with a school. For example, if a school is your first choice school and you are absolutely dying to go there and you feel that you would be able to attend with a different financial aid award, you can call the school and you can talk about that. The school might say to you, okay, we can actually change your award to X, Y, or Z. Or the school might say, I wish we could change your award, but we can't. But in either case, we are happy to field those kinds of questions, especially from families who are just trying to make it work and who really would like to attend having received their offer.
I think that is very, very helpful. Like you said, it can be very confusing for parents when they receive, such a wide range. So we were talking earlier before we jumped on this, and I think we have one request for families who have received multiple packages. And Rebekah, will you lead with that request?
Absolutely. So first of all, if you have received multiple packages, congratulations. It's so exciting for your family. Admissions in general is very competitive, and admission with financial aid is often even more competitive. So there are so many families at this exact moment and for the rest of February who are on what's called the financial aid waitlist, where their children are outstanding, the families are outstanding, and schools would like to admit them but do not have the dollars yet. So if you do know that you will, let's say you maybe narrowed your decision down to 2 schools, please let the remaining schools know that you will not be enrolling at those schools. That will often give them the opportunity to award those financial aid dollars to another family that is waiting to hear from the school. The sooner that you can make your decision, the better. It's so helpful to be able to stay in close touch with financial aid offices who are very often fielding many phone calls and really trying to help as many families as possible.
Well, thank you so much, Rebekah, for joining us today. And if families have any more questions about financial aid, do reach out to first at the schools that you've received your awards. Please reach out to them with questions, but you could also reach out to the Parents League at info@parentsleague.org. So thank you again. Good luck to everyone. And we will see you and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Gina.